Hey everybody, it's Casey with My Life on the Me List. In this video, we're going to talk all about budgeting on your own. I'm going to share how I do my own personal budget, some steps that I've taken to prepare myself for living on my own, and also I'm going to release a new series about minimalist living. I am switching to a more minimalist lifestyle, and so I want to take you on that journey as I transition through my 29th year, moving into my new apartment. So if that all sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Casey Davis, My Life on the Me List. Also, feel free to leave a comment below about the type of content that you'd like me to share with you. All right, let's get at it. Hey everybody, so a couple things have changed since my last video about my birthday weekend to Baker City. We did get a full price offer on our house, and we ended up actually losing that sale due to some complications with the paperwork and things like that. So the buyer ended up backing out of that original offer, which kind of stunk, but we ended up doing another showing and then an open house and ended up getting another full price offer. And so we're in the midst of that process right now. We've done our full inspection. We've had that. We're just waiting for things to come back. And so far, everything seems pretty promising. I have found my new apartment. I've already put the application in. I've got some steps ready to get moved in. And so during this whole process, I wanted to share how I do my own budget, because now that I'm switching to living on my own, going from a two-person income from being married before to just myself, selling my current house, living on my own, being the only one who's really responsible for me, it's really important that I have a solid budget. And so I thought I'd share how I do my own personal finances, and if that can help any of you, awesome. So how I do my own budget, I actually have multiple checking and savings accounts with my financial institution. I have actually been in the financial industry for the last 10 years, both as a loan officer and now on the back end side of the training position. So I'm actually teaching the loan officers how to do their job and the best ways to help members and customers achieve their financial goals or success or dreams, whatever that is for that person. So over the years, I've gained a lot of tips and tricks. That will be coming in a different video about my tips and tricks on being financially successful, how important credit is, why it's important. So keep an eye out for that video coming up in the near future. So my accounts that I have a bills account, I have a transaction account, I have a bills holding account, a Christmas savings, and then a high yield savings. Those are all just my transacting accounts. I also have a couple credit cards that are rewards based, one that's not a rewards based, one that's a fixed rate as well. And then I've got an auto loan, and then currently my mortgage, which will be sold at the end of this month. And then I'll have a fixed rent payment going for the next year. To make budgeting easy for me, I have a transaction account that's actually where all of my money is stored in, and then I have my bills account where actual bills come out using my routing and checking account number. Now I have a separate account for that because if for any reason that bills checking account number was to get compromised, my entire paycheck or anything that's left over that I'm using for the next 2 weeks is not in that account. I don't give my transaction checking account to anyone or any vendor to take from. If for any reason that bills account was to get compromised, I can easily shut that one down. I still have all of my transaction or my spending money in one account. I'm really not out a lot of money. It just helps from getting burned and having all of your money locked away, or heaven forbid, taken due to fraud. So in my bills account, I just put in there bills that are coming out in the next 2 weeks before I get my next paycheck. Anything that I can, I set up on an automatic payment. The reason why I like automatic payments is because I know exactly how much it's going to be. I've already planned out when it's going to come out of my account. Or if I can, I put everything I can on a rewards credit card, and I treat my rewards credit card like a debit card. I, like many other young 20-somethings, I got into a lot of credit card debt in my early 20s because I didn't have the proper education on credit card debt and what it was, how to get out of it, how easy it is to get into it. So how do I do my own budget? I actually take all of my month's bills and I add them all up together to get one final total. And then I divide that total by 2. The reason why I divide it by 2 is I personally get paid every other week. Now, realistically, I get 13 months worth of pay in a calendar year because I'm paid every other week. I'm not paid twice a month. For me, To keep things simple, keep math simple, I added all my bills up. I estimated high on all of those variable bills, things like your utilities, things that can jump depending on the usage that you have. And I just kind of erred on the high side of what those bills could be. So then if I have a little bit of extra money in that account, then hey, if something comes up unexpected, I've got a little bit of a slush fund type of thing. All of my other bills that are fixed, like my rent, my internet, my car payment, things like that, I know what those are going to be. I know what day they come out. And so I add all of those up together and then I divide by 2. I divide it by 2 because I get paid twice a month, as I mentioned before. So the 2 is I actually take half of the second part of the month's bills and I put that into my bills holding account. Now that might seem kind of crazy to you because why would I only take half of the bills? Well, I like to be half a month ahead on all of my bills. And the benefit of being half a month ahead is if anything happens, you're half a month ahead. So if you get sick or you ran out of PTO or something like that, you're still a half a month ahead with your bills. It just relieves a lot of stress when those unexpected things come along. Also, another benefit is when you take half of your paycheck and pay half of your bills with it, you have basically half of a paycheck to use instead of taking maybe your last paycheck of the month. All has to go towards the first because that's when your big rent or mortgage payment is due, and then you're kind of just eating top ramen or having those little candy bars for your meals to get you by for the next 2 weeks until you get that second paycheck. By splitting your bills up in half, which is actually a tip that I learned from my ex on how to do, it really just makes life seem so much easier because it gives the illusion that you actually have more money in your pocket than you do. And it's because you're not taking one paycheck and paying these big balances all at once. You're splitting it up. So let me show you an example of what my bills look like and what I'm kind of estimating my bills to look like here. So on this screen, I have it labeled as new bills, and you can see that I have rent and internet estimated at $1406. That's just what my contract says. It's due the 1st. I'm also looking at renting a garage to maybe have some extra storage at the apartment complex. I called around and got some quotes on what my insurance would be and what renter's insurance would be, and then I estimated on the high of what my apartment would cost. They also gave me a range from about $30 to $50 for water, sewer, and trash. So I took the $50 as the high, and then estimating $80 for a cell phone plan that's on my own for an unlimited. Now you can find cheaper cell phone plans, but for what I'm looking for and what I use my data for, I found one that's $80 per month, and so I might stick with that. Some of the extras that I pay for is I have iCloud, so I have a little bit of storage that I pay for in the cloud for all of my files, my pictures, my music, and things like that. I also subscribe to Apple Music per month. I have a car payment, I have Disney Plus, and then I also subscribe to a car wash per month. I also have that Christmas. I like to put $50 per month into a Christmas savings account, so then during the holiday time, I'm not running into debt to spend on Christmas. So as you can see there, I have $102 per paycheck for iCloud, Apple Music, Disney Plus, my car payment, Epic, and then that's erring on the high side. So I rounded everything up to the next whole dollar on that, and then I divided that by 2. I also have $25 per paycheck for Christmas, and then I like to put $100 into my high yield savings because I like to pay myself first. Now, if anyone wants a spreadsheet or any tips or tricks like that, I'm happy to create something or kind of help work with your own budget that way too. It's a really easy way to budget. I know exactly when things are coming out. I don't have the due dates on my new bills yet for everything because I haven't moved into my apartment yet, but as soon as I have those dates, I'll be putting those on there so that I know exactly what's due when. So if you're like me and you are transitioning into a different period of your life where you're going on your own for your own budget. Maybe it's due to a divorce like me, or maybe it's just you want to have more control over your own finances. Whatever the situation may be, we all kind of have to figure out what to do and how to make that work. So some of the steps that I took to figure out my budget is I took my net amount, which is after taxes on my paycheck, and I did the whole monthly amount on that. I then took that net amount and I figured out what all of my bills are going to be in my new place, in my apartment. I got my apartment contract. I know exactly what my rent is going to be. I know what my internet's going to be because it's all included in there. And then I also spent actually a couple hours getting some different quotes for renter's insurance and auto insurance. A lot of insurance companies have a bundle for renters and autos. It's not just for owning a home that you can get those discounts. So make sure that you're checking that stuff out and asking some questions and doing your research. You can actually save quite a bit of money. One of the other things that I've looked into for getting myself prepared to being on my own is I currently have a Nissan Leaf, which is a 100% electric vehicle. I'm very passionate about electric vehicles and that whole process of moving to more electric vehicles instead of having the gas. But unfortunately, in an apartment complex, the charging situation is going to be kind of tough to do. From where I have now, I have a designated charger that I built into this house that gives me all of the necessary power that I need, and it's just included into my monthly payment. Now, there are some superchargers out there. You may be thinking, well, Casey, why don't you just go use a supercharger? Kind of doing the math and the distance that I'll be driving, it may actually be more cost effective to temporarily switch back to a gas car. And then once I decide on buying a new home, or my apartment complex did mention that they are thinking of installing some EV charging stations, I could always transition back. But I'm willing to change my lifestyle just a little bit so that I am financially stable and successful as I transition to doing my own budget. I won't have that security blanket of someone else to come and protect me like I've had throughout the rest of my 20s. And so I'm making sure that I think of all possibilities and variables so that in the event that anything were to happen, I can still afford all of my bills and not be what you called house poor, where all of my paycheck goes to my living expenses, not have any money to do anything fun. So those are some of the steps that I've taken to personally get myself prepared. As I mentioned before, I'm going to release a video about my best tips and tricks for being financially stable and successful in a future video, so keep an eye out for that. So I mentioned before in my intro that I am also announcing a series about switching to a more minimalist lifestyle. I've been doing a lot of research about minimalism, and I'll get more into that in the next video, but the basis of minimalism is owning the things that give you joy and give your life purpose. We live in a society where stuff ultimately shows your value, or at least that's the perception that we put on ourselves. That's definitely what I used to put on myself, and I acquired all of these things, and I kept getting bigger, nicer houses to feel happiness and fill a void that was inside of me that I thought I could get by buying stuff. Going through my journey of self-care and self-love, which I'll get into more in the series as we go on, I'm realizing that it wasn't the stuff that was filling the void. I needed to fill the void with my own self-love and self-worth. So we'll get into that, but if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be releasing videos every week about my journey through my 29th year. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram under Casey Davis, MyLifeOnTheMeList. Leave a comment below, hit that bell button for notifications, and I'm so excited and so grateful for everyone joining me on this journey. Remember, you're important, you matter, and let's get at it. All right, guys, until next time.